Well, Darren, let's talk about Sammy Szmodics first up. And I think much like your other two January signings, a player that you've had an eye on for quite some time.
Well, yes, this is where we've been really consistent and delighted, actually, that the three targets we had in the summer, Brownie, Tails and now Sammy, we've had to wait a little bit longer, but we've managed to get them in. They were our number one targets for midfield players, I have to say, and we've managed to just eventually get them in, so I'm absolutely delighted.
And with Sammy, obviously made the move to Bristol City. He hasn't played all that much, but in terms of his credentials at League 2 level, very strong.
Oh, I mean, him and Reece are very similar in terms of they decided to go from League 2 to Champ, which, we respected that decision at the time. I understood it, but it can be difficult to go from League 2 to the Championship and play regular. That's a big step up. But for me, they're Championship players, but maybe it'll just take them a little bit longer. And obviously the hope is for them to get us there, and then we'll see what happens at the end of the season. But we're absolutely delighted to get him on board. He's a really creative player. He scores goals, he gets assists. He's predominantly a number 10 but he's a running number 10 as well. He covers 12k a game. He's an exciting signing for us. I'm delighted to get him.
Yeah, so in terms of the point of the midfield diamond, he'll fit in really well there. Could he play either side as well?
Possibly, yes, we feel that. We do play different systems, so he can play on one of a three in midfield, he can play behind a striker, so he ticks a lot of boxes. But the main thing for me is he scores goals, he's a creative player, and he fits into exactly what we want to do. Yeah,
it's so important, isn't it? If you want to play in that role, a bit like with Marcus Maddison, you have to deliver with the goals and the assists.
Well, you do, and the players we've brought in over the January period added to the ones that we've already got. In terms of, I know the goals have dried up a little bit, but we can't forget we've got the top two goal scorers in the league. We've got Dembele coming back. We've got Kanu, who's not that far away. We've got young Ricky. We've got a lot of attacking, exciting players, Serhat. But I just felt with this one, the boy's got a bit to prove, and he's a different type of player in terms of the much running he does. Was the real main factor for me, and adds into Brownie and Tails, very good footballers. So they'll fit into if we do play a diamond. Obviously Simon plays as a 10 predominantly. So I'm really looking forward to working with him.
Yeah, and he shouldn't have too much difficulty settling in Frankie Kent, a guy he knows really well.
Yeah, I mean, I spoke to Frankie about him, and they're good mates. So, but I've spoke to a few people about him in terms of I always try and get character references. And listen, he's very lively, Sammy, and it's been difficult dealing with Frankie. He's very lively now. I've got the two of them, but I'm looking forward to working with him. And good age as well, and yeah, he's going to be a good signing for us. Yeah,
and great to have this particular signing sorted out, in that we were talking last week about making moves as and when things change with the makeup of your squad. You've got Marcus Maddison potentially on his way out. It's nice to already have a body in. Where currently is Marcus? What's his state of affairs, if you like, ahead of the weekend?
It's quite a simple thing with Marcus, and in terms of where he is with other clubs, we've now had two clubs that have had bids accepted. He's free to speak to both clubs, but he can't sort out the personal terms at the moment. That's exactly where he is with these clubs. In terms of where I am with it, I have to, and everyone's got to understand this, I have to manage 25, 26 players, not one individual. So I have to I'm at this point putting closure on the Marcus Madison situation, and simply, whether he goes or not, he's not part of the plans moving forward. It's as simple as that. I need to make sure that I've got a team that are all pointing in the same direction, and I think it's become a bit of a circus act with the whole thing in terms of, is he going, is he not? There's been a lot of incidences where he's not been available and things like that. He's out of contract in the summer, he will not be here. The main thing is the club offered him a very, very good contract in the summer, and his opinion on it was, no, I'm not going to sign it, I want to play in the Championship. He's now got the opportunity to do that. I'm not sure if that's going to happen. So as a manager, I have to make a decision, and the decision I've made is that I've brought Sammy in, and even if I hadn't have done, I'm putting closure on the whole thing, that Marcus is not part of the plans moving forward.
And with that in mind, I guess it strongly suggests that you expect that he will go before the end of the
Not necessarily. No, not necessarily. That's just a decision I've made because I need to move forward with the whole thing. And now I've got players that I feel that can replace him, and I think I've got enough. And whether I have or not, what the main point I'm making here is it's about us and not me. And in terms of that's the attitude I want from everyone. It can't be about one individual. It has to be about a team, and that's why I'm basing that decision on that.
Yeah, and I guess circumstances are always specific, but a few years ago, Lee Tomlin, in a sort of similar situation where he was kind of halfway out the door, half not, and it became a bit of a distraction. So I guess you learn from that as well.
Well, no, I think these circumstances are different in the sense that the clear pattern that's followed from the summer is that the chairman offered Marcus an excellent contract, which was turned down on the basis that he wanted to play championship football. The chairman's then done a deal to get the boy the championship football he wanted, and also the fact that it's a very good deal for the football club, given that he's out of contract in the summer. And Marcus is fully entitled to do that in terms of not go because he's not agreed personal terms. That's his decision as an individual. I'm basing my decision on what I've seen and what I need to do for the team. That's my decisions are always based on the team, and they'll always have the team at the forefront of my sort of decision making. And I've made a decision that I need to move forward from this quickly, and I need to get us back on track winning games of football, and bringing Sammy in makes it a lot easier because he plays in that position.
And just one last word on Marcus. Do you think actually a clean break for him, a change of environment, is perhaps what he needs at this stage?
Well, I've always got on with the boy. Nothing personal. I don't mind him. It's something that in terms of the managers he's had at the club, he's always got on well with me. And the main thing is, I think that everyone feels the same now, that it's the right time. I think the fans, and that's no disrespect to Marcus, but everyone I feel is it's the correct time for him to move on, and the football club to move on, because it can turn into one individual, and I have to make this a team. I've said that from when I first came in the building. It's about a team. You're never going to win anything, and I'm not blaming him. I'm not saying that at all, but my focus has to be on the team and the club. My decisions are always based on that, and quite frankly, I need to move forward with it. And you and I need to be talking about it. Stop talking about it, and we need to move forward. So I'm putting closure on it. It's not going to be part of the plans. I'll have the squad that I want moving forward to try and get this club promoted.
Let's talk about the weekend then. AFC Wimbledon.
Yeah.
Yes, they're down towards the bottom of the table, but actually you dig a little closer, and in terms of their home form, they've only actually been beaten by 3 sides in League One this season, so they've clearly got something about them.
I think it's always a difficult game at their place, and the way the sort of the ground is, it's quite enclosed, quite tight. It can make it difficult. So we know we're going into it. It's going to be a difficult game. We need to get up and running again. We need to just grind the result out, and you hope that the momentum, then fresh faces, the players coming back, Thompson, Knight, Dembele are all coming back. They'll pretty much, I think, Thompson, Dembele are ready for Wickham. Knight will be back for Rotherham. That you hope a win gets us a minute. I'm very, very confident that a win will get us up and running. I'm very confident, and I've got a lot of belief in this squad of players. I'm absolutely delighted with the business we've done in January. Absolutely delighted with it. I didn't think we'd managed to get those 3 players, and we've managed to do that. So, again, the chairman and the owners have really backed us with that. But they can see what we're trying to do, and we knew all along we needed to improve that area of the pitch. It's going to be a difficult game, but I've got a lot of belief and confidence that we can get up and running again. And we're so close. It's such a tight league, but there's no question it's going to be a difficult game, regardless of how we were doing, or we were doing fantastic going into the game. It's going to be a difficult game anyway, full stop.
Yeah, and of course at some point during the season you will go through a bad run. You're anxious now to draw a line under it as quickly as you can, and then of course the key element is, and you mentioned it the other day, you want to get those successive wins, and if you can do that, it's amazing how quickly you can start motoring again.
It absolutely is, and as quickly as you can lose games and it can go one way, it can easily turn the other way very, very quickly, and we know that. We haven't won in 5. Obviously we need to address that very, very quickly. It's an obvious thing for me to say, but when I spoke to the players on Monday, I said, look, another way to look at it is we need to get back-to-back wins, and if we do that, we're playing a team that could be at the top of the league, and you could go within a point of them, and it's as simple as that. So it's been a good week in the sense that what we've done and putting closure behind certain things, and also getting Sammy in, Obviously we got Jack a game last week, he was very good. Brownie's fitting in well, got some players come back, so I think the timing of all that, if we can just get that win, it'll be a real bonus. I can really see us kicking on.
Yeah, it is an opportunity this week because yes, if you can get the 3 points on Saturday, then you've got Wickham on the Tuesday, and the league is so tight that having a match when others aren't playing suddenly becomes very important.
I think it does, and I think a lot's put on the focus that teams have got games in hand on it. You need to get the points. You'd rather have the points. You know, it's such a tight league. Anyone can beat anyone. So our main focus is on Saturday, and we're looking forward to that game. Sammy came in today and trained excellently. Really, really good. I know what we're going to do in terms of the team and everything else. And now what I have got is my bench is going to be even stronger, and I think that's really important with the last 19 games coming up.
Yeah, and it freshens you up in a couple of ways, in that yes, you got the greater number of options in midfield, but actually just having some new faces around and some different ways of thinking, different voices is presumably always handy as well. Yeah,
I think for a manager it can be quite, not rare, but you have to be lucky with it. And these 3 players that have been brought in were number 1 choices, and it's not as if we've just thought, oh, we're panicking here. We've been very careful in our recruitment. We've detailed reports and everything else. So we've actually managed to get them 4 or 5 months later than we wanted, but we've hung in there and we've got them. So it's not as if we're going out there and we're thinking, oh, we've got the ones we wanted. Obviously that'll be it now, I would have thought. And Woody's gone. Chappie's now come back also from loan because Conor O'Malley's injured. Yeah. So there might be 1 or 2 that move out, but certainly in terms of the ones coming in, I feel that will really strengthen us, especially now we've got the injured players coming back.
With both Reece and Sammy, is there the potential to do something in the summer if you want to?
Not too sure on that one. I'm not too sure yet. You know, the powers that be and deal with that sort of thing. Barry and the chairman, I'm not too sure. I think I'm pretty certain that we were very. What's the word I'm looking for? We were very hopeful we could get something in there that would mean if we went up they would stay, but I'm not too sure on that one.
And with George Cooper, is the best place for him to be at this moment in time, just cracking on at Plymouth?
I think so. I mean, George is a player that I really like, and he's a talented boy, and he's done well at Plymouth. But I think the best thing for him at the moment is to continue playing games. If I was absolutely certain that he would come back in and play, then I would have brought him back, but it really seems pointless. I think I'm going to bring him back just to put him on a bench when I've got others that can fill that role. So now that we've done this business, George will stay there.
Yeah, and just to finish, you've been keeping a close eye on Ricky Jade with his muscle injury. Is that looking better?
He's fit. He, touch wood, he's absolutely fine, trained really well today. So we hope we've got to the bottom of that and he can just kick on now. And like I said earlier, Dembele's back for the Wickham game. He scored in the week and was very good. Serhat's getting up to speed. So no, we've got a lot of good attacking options, and we had to make sure the ones that we brought in, or we wanted to make sure, you know, Taylor's got over 10 goals this season. Brown got 11 last season. Sammy scores goals. We've got goals in the team that, you know, is important to have added to what we've already got.